The whole system of Korean natural farming is geared toward empowering growers to make their own inputs and become less reliant on repeat purchases. So a lack of scientific evidence for natural farming techniques may not be an indication that they aren't scientifically viable. It really might just mean that there's not enough financial incentive to fund a legitimate project. Now, that's not to say that research hasn't been done on any natural farming techniques. There's significant scientific evidence of the benefits of no-till growing and some organic farming techniques that have made the journey over to home gardening. And there's a little bit of research out there on Korean natural farming and Jadam organic farming, but not nearly enough for anyone to consider these as commercially viable approaches to agriculture. And even from what is out there, there's kind of conflicting data. And this gets into the challenge that natural farming faces when it comes to research project design. For modern science to effectively study a technique and publish findings, there's so many necessary factors that go into the study. Control groups, randomization, blinding, clear definitions and variables, sampling techniques, and data collection methods, all of these are helpful for deriving legitimate findings, but they become very tricky to implement when dealing with something as finicky as Korean natural farming. So take this scientific study from the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Projects, or SARE. The summary of this report says that they applied indigenous microorganisms, or IMO, to various plots and tested for soil nutrient concentrations, microbial communities, and leaf nutrient density at harvest. Their findings: there was no impact on the IMO sprayed lettuce fields compared to the control group. Now, some people might read this and be convinced that there's no benefit to IMO cultivation, case closed. The science is spoken. But when you dip your toes into the study a little bit, it becomes immediately apparent no such conclusion could really be definitively made. First of all, the fields the IMO was applied to were left unmulched, which by the researchers' own admission was a likely detriment to the protection of these microorganisms in the soil. Additionally, the IMO that was sprayed on the fields was only brought to the second stage of cultivation, IMO 2, which is not something that KNF teachers or I would recommend. It's really important to gradually grow these microbial populations out onto multiple other substrates, most notably the native field soil, before applying it so that the microbes are properly conditioned by the time they make it to the field. And I'm not trying to overcomplicate things just to explain away the need for scientific research. I'm trying to point out that with so many variables at play, it's hard to guarantee a completely satisfactory design for such a study.